All right, now to the East, where the Washington Wizards bounced back from their Tuesday night loss to the Celtics with a 142-115 win over the depleted Indiana Pacers. Bradley Beal scored 25 points, and Russell Westbrook added 18 points and 15 assists, and both shot the ball considerably better than they did against Boston. The Pacers got a triple-double from Domantas Sabonis and 24 points from Malcolm Brogdon, but the Pacers' defense got carved up as the Wizards shot 58% from the floor and 50% from behind the arc. Washington will face the Philadelphia 76ers in the first round, while the Pacers hope to use the offseason to get healthy as they finish their season with key contributors Miles Turner, Karis LeVert, TJ Warren, and Jeremy Lamb. They were without those guys. Drink, we've been hard on Wizards coach Scott Brooks on the occasions we've discussed him, but his team did finish the season by winning 17 of their final 23 games. Would you bring him back for another season?
Yes. Now, when I answer this, I know people gonna be like, "Well, what's the difference between what Scott Brooks did and what Brad Stevens doing with the Celtics?" First of all, the Celtics is a better team in my opinion. I think that they're young stars. If they would have kept Daniel Tice, I don't think I would even be talking about get rid of Brad Stevens. And listen, I'm not saying the Celtics should get rid of him. I'm just saying, if you look at the numbers, you look at what's good, like how the NBA roll, it might be time for Brad Stevens to leave just on the current model of how head coaches, get fired and hired. Now, with Scott Brooks, yes, to answer your question, I would keep him. Yes, I would. At least another season. Because if the ownership of the Wizards thing is, let's run it back with Bill and Westbrook, and then let's just try to get some more talent around them, then you might as well keep Scott Brooks. Because it's not like it's a scheme thing that's the problem. It's just, can I get a healthy Westbrook with a healthy Bill together so they can play well together? And then can I get enough complementary pieces, enough shooting, a defensive guy, around them to make us competitive with the top teams in the East. And if that's your case, that's not Scott Brooks' fault. So I will keep him because I just don't know if you're going to bring in another guy that would be able to, handle the personality of Westbrook and, everything that comes with him. I don't know if you could bring in another guy. You got to understand, Scott Brooks got a relationship with Westbrook already. They was doing this in OKC. They're familiar with each other. Evidently, Bradley Beal either he's faking the funk at a very high level, or he gets along with Westbrook. So, if I'm ownership, do I want to blow this up? I mean, we are the Washington Wizards. Let's not get too bogged down in it. We're not the Milwaukee Bucks. We're not the Philadelphia 76ers. So, the expectation ain't sky high for me from the beginning. So I don't see the reason why you wouldn't keep him around if I'm all things considered. I would definitely, and especially if you're talking about a 1-year extension, 2-year extension. Yeah, let's go ahead. Now, you go ahead and sign him to a 4-year, 5-year extension, then people gonna be like, what's going on? Hey, what are we doing here? Okay, I see what we're doing. So we're getting ready for the lottery again, huh? We just gonna get tanked for the lottery and wait for this dude to come out in 2024 out of the G League because they ain't going to college no more. Now they signing these contracts with the G League. So we're gonna, wait for him to, develop in the G League and then draft him number 1 overall in 2025 or some trash. So with that said, man, I would definitely keep Scott Brooks around for a year or two. To the game itself. When we was talking about this, I think either last Saturday or last Wednesday, I can't remember which day it was. I think we both said the Celtics 7, the Wizards 8, and we did that mainly because, listen, when it all boils down, when the rubber meets the road, when the cream get to the top, we going with the stars. Who are the stars? Okay, the Celtics usually have Tatum and Brown. Now it's more like Tatum and Kimball. Okay, cool. The Wizards got Bill and Westbrook. Okay, cool. Then you looked at the other two teams. The Pacers got Sabonis and question mark. And then you know, the Hornets was like LaMelo and I guess Rozier or Bridges or Michael Jordan. I don't know who the hell you pair up with that. So when you look at that hierarchy, it was pretty self-explanatory why we picked those two teams. At the end of the day, we came up to the same result. The Celtics are the 7th seed, the Wizards are the 8th seed. I wanna say shouts out to the Pacers, right? They've been through a lot this season. I don't know. Did you see that clip where wasn't the head coach? It was like the first assistant was like trying to fight. I forgot which player it was, but it was one of the younger players on the Pacers. Like he was like on the court trying to fight him during a timeout, and then the head coach is trying to give instructions. This guy back here thinking this WWE, and he doing what he's doing. The head coach turned around like, what in the world going on? Instead of him drawing up a play, now he got to go ahead and be an internal referee. And the players are in the huddle like, hey coach, you going to drop a play? You know what? Don't worry about it, man. They just go back on the court and say, F it. That had to be the low point of the Pacers season right there. That had to be the low point. And I remember watching that and thinking like, this ain't it. This coach might be over his skis over here. This ain't it right here. Wasn't necessarily his fault. Maybe I was just jumping the gun and being a little hard on him. But that wasn't it. To see how they ended the season, to see possibly what they can do going into the next season, I just want to say kudos to them. At least you made it to the play-in tournament and you actually performed. You came up short. This is another team that's not fully healthy. We'd like to see when they come back and see how these pieces play better. Sabonis, LeVert, Brogdon. They got some guys. Turner. We want to come back and see. You like to talk about McConnell. I like to see when they come back. But I think this is rightfully so for them. You out of here, 9th seed. Sound about right. Holla at your boy. But back to the Wizards. Now we got the Wizards making it to the field of 8. I don't think they'll be here long. Gas up the jet. This won't take too long. That's how I kind of look at this. However, I do want to, get them shots out, and I think Scott Brooks does deserve to be there at least for another season. Congratulations to the Wizards. I think we will see the Pacers again, but yeah, man, you gotta at this point you gotta give Scott Brooks the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I do agree. I think you bring him back, and it's more appropriate question than I thought because he's actually in the final year of the 5-year deal he signed back 5 years ago. So, okay. First 2 years they were in the playoffs. We know how the situation has deteriorated with John Wall's health. So, some of the shortcomings you can likely trace to that because when John Wall was healthy, they were in the playoffs for what that's worth.
Right.
So. But it is a hard question because we've seen how the NBA has done coaches recently. Something like we're talking about Lloyd Pierce, Nate McMillan, Billy Donovan, Dwayne Casey. The list goes on and on about guys who, and sometimes it's that third year that you get them all out of here. I think if you were going to let Scott Brooks go, it would have been the last 2 years, and and looking back a couple months ago, you would have said, "Oh yeah, there ain't no way this dude get another contract. He ain't getting this is it. No contract extensions. You got to get him out of here." But then you win. Then you go 17-6 over your final 23, and they're in the playoffs. And that type of tournament, when we talked about it, these play-in teams, Boston, just they out here stuck in neutral pretty much the whole season to the tune of a 36-36. And then Charlotte, they was looking nice in the 4th seed for much of the year. LaMelo gets hurt. The wheels come off that track. And then the Pacers, God bless them, but man, they just can't get healthy. They might be over the last 5 years. They got to be the team that has been just killed by injuries more than anybody else.
That's true.
So, you take all that consideration. Washington they were the one team out of these 4 who was playing really, really well. They got beat up by Boston. Their stars just couldn't get it done. But like I said Wednesday, I thought Beal and Westbrook, I don't think they could play that poorly 2 straight games. They did not. They played pretty well. They got some good contributions. Hachimura was good. Daniel Gafford, I got to figure out who he is at some point, but the numbers are looking really nice for him with 15 points, 5 blocks, I believe it was, 13 rebounds. And, oh, my Lord, Raul Neto looking like a competent starter in this league. Good job, man. But, I mean, Indiana, look, can you just imagine Indiana with this starting 5 that they projected to have with Brogdon, LeVert, TJ Warren, and Sabonis and Miles Turner. You're not gonna, there aren't many more starting 5s. There may be your top 1 and 2 guys that are obviously better. You can find a lot of duos better than Brogdon and Sabonis or whatever duo you want to give me. But top to bottom in that starting 5, there aren't a lot better starting 5s than that. If they can get those guys on the court together, they're going to be, I got to believe they're going to be right back in the thick of the Eastern Conference as they've been over the past several years. They're normally a team you can look at right around that 4 to 5 hole. Just too many injuries this year. And first year for Nate Bjorken, I don't come away terribly impressed with him. I still like to see Nate McMillan there. But, all the injuries, I think it's fair that we also give him the benefit of the doubt. And especially when you're telling me stories about, he over here having to play mediator on the sideline when he should be drawing up plays. I guess I got to take that into consideration too.
Hey, I'm telling you, you got Google it. I was like, what is this dude? It was a wild scene over there. It was wild.
For some reason, it also makes me think of that Kansas State brawl when Silvio or whatever he was holding up that chair and all that.
Right.
But back to Scott Brooks, you make a great point about the prior relationship he has with Russell Westbrook. I still think that's a relationship that's in a pretty that those things matter between superstar players and the coach. I'm not saying Russell Westbrook is hard to coach, but I don't know if you just want anybody to come in there and coach Russell Westbrook. Remember, this is his first year there. They seem to be building something. They do have a lot of work to do. I think after Beal and Westbrook, and I'd throw I like what I see from Hachimura right now, but they're gonna have. I don't know if you want to keep going with Alex Len as your starting center. And I know Neto was Neto last night, but I gotta believe you gotta have something else, So they gotta fill out their roster, get a bit better around those 2 stars that they have, because they do have 2 absolute stars. We know we just talked about in the break that Steph Curry versus Russell Westbrook, how their games will age. There's going to be a decline for Russell Westbrook, but this guy just averaged 22 points, 12 assists, and 11 rebounds. He's doing just tremendous things. Even as his athleticism declines, he's still got that basketball IQ. He's still going to be a threat. He's still going to create open shots for others. And just his overall, he's not going to lose that, tenacity that he plays with. I don't think he's never going to lose that. And Bradley Beal, this guy's in the prime of his career, and he's a guy that can give you 30 easy on every night. So I do think, it's a little bit of a interesting of a dynamic because, again, we see coaches from time to time. They don't get this much run with, not a lot to show for it. But given this is a unique situation, I don't think you move to the second season of Russell Westbrook in Washington without Scott Brooks. I don't think you want to do that.